Prasenjit. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a Python programmer and I'll be talking today about web scraping. What is web scraping in general, how we do it in Python, and I'll show you how to do it in a very basic way. So with today's video, let's get started. So what is web scraping in general? Web scraping is a method by which we extract data from a particular website. So suppose if I want to get temperature of Shimla and there is this temperature and this is the current temperature and I want it to write on some file. So this is something like this. So I take this, I create a file, scrape data, I put this there and I'll go back, I'll do this 8 degree. Somehow I need to get this, but I cannot, so I will go there back and I'll write something like this 8 degree Celsius, something like this 8 degree Celsius. So this is scraping. So what I just did, I went to a particular website and looked for some data which I wanted and I extracted it out and I just kept it for my own purpose. So web scraping is used by data scientists and machine learning engineers for gathering data for training and testing purposes. And similarly, for Python professionals who want to extract general data from the websites, like just I did, I fetched something which is very general to public and fetch it from google.com. So this is another use, and there is a third use where people use it for projects and some money gain, and there are some caveats to it. So there comes the question: web scraping is legal or illegal? If you are going to scrape data, so few things that you should keep in your mind is that web scraping is depending upon the scraping type. What kind of data you are scraping? Is it used for, is it commercial data or is it general public data? You have to respect the owner's conditions and terms for scraping. And second, you don't want to search the server with too many requests fluently going so that your IP gets blocked and banned. So don't do those things. Always try to, any website you're trying to scrape data from, go to their robots.txt. They always have some definitions for what scraper can scrape for and what it should not. So suppose if I want to scrape LinkedIn, won't do this, but still, I'll just show you robots.txt. I'll go to this and they have this condition. They have things like who are allowed and who are not allowed. So what pages people are allowed. Disallowed pages are add contacts. This is a user agent Google bot. So this is the Google search engine spider. So which goes to this page, to this linkedin.com. It also doesn't have access to these pages where add contacts, address book, export analytics, answers, because these are the business things. So for a company who is running their business and you're trying to extract their business data, it's somewhere it's uh, I would say that it's not right. So this is these things you have to keep in consideration, that while you are doing some sort of scraping work, always try to go to robots.txt and see what conditions they have. Else you're good to go and you can scrape any kind of data until and unless you are doing an upsurge on servers and you're going to pages which are not allowed, you're fine. So today's task, trying to fetch this temperature data from this Google page, and I will be using Python 3.7.4 request library and beautiful soup, and let's get started. So request is that library which uses this whole connection process. It makes a call to the server and it gets a response from it. If you're coming from web development, you must be aware of it, and if you're not, then it's a process by which servers and browsers communicate between. So a user like you and me can see the data on the screen. So this is all in Python is done with the help of request. So you can see HTTP for humans, HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, right? And then after after you send this whole website, whole URL to server, and gave you this data. Now what you want is you want to know how to read this data out of this page. At this point comes this another powerful engine that is called Beautiful Soup. And in Beautiful Soup today we'll be using little features. But if you guys are really interested in knowing more, and if you like my video and my style of telling things, do tell me. And if you're not, do tell me as well, because I'm starting it for the first time and this is my first video. I will really appreciate any input from you guys. It will be really helpful. So now we have all of this set up. The problem now, the problem statement. So the problem statement is very clear. Find temperature of any given city or place in this world in the current time and writing it to a file or the terminal. So it's all clear. I'll be just starting with the coding directly now. So for this, I'm using Visual Studio Code. You can use any editor of your choice. It's your completely, it's up to you. So first, I always try to document my code so that it's easier for me to come back in future and look at this code and understand what it is doing and what task it is, tackling. It is a lot more easier. So it's a good practice. I'll suggest you should also try sometimes. So it's a multi-line comment I'm putting in. In this, I'll be writing what task I'm trying to achieve, what task I'm trying to do. Time, okay. Temperature for any given city for the current time from Google, I'll say. Okay. So that it will be easier for me to know from which website you're trying to get this, from google.com. And I'll give this, there is a URL which I'll be using. So the URL is, I'll go to this website. We need just a little bit of things which are not too much complicated for our mere human minds. So I have just, I know basically I know it. So I'll just write it down here. City of Shimla. So this is the URL. Okay, it's all fine. I'll just get this and I'll paste it in my browser, in my editor. I'll write the URL and I'll just change this so that I can understand that this is calling a city, and I'll use Python formatting, string formatting for this, so that I can just use this URL while handling it with its requests. So this is the URL and the task I have mentioned, and now I'll write the libraries required. So dependencies it is. Dependencies is the file code or the library is required for a particular script to run. So I will be just writing back. One is, first is requests, and second is beautiful soup. So this is all what I need for today, and I'm good to go. So now what we need to do is import libraries, import these libraries. So I need to import these libraries. Also, 1 minute. Before importing, suppose if you're not having this library installed, this is not part of standard library, so you have to install it from PyPy index and pip using pip command. So if you're using Python on Windows, you will just write Python, not here, sorry, on terminal. So if you're using Visual Studio Code, it is very easy to get this. So there is this shortcut, control plus this approximate sign, I call it. I don't know the name. If you know the name, please tell me in the comment section. So Python web scrapers I'm using. So if you're using Windows, if you're gonna write it in Windows like this, it's gonna work. But if for me, I just have to put Python 3, or Ubuntu users or Linux users or any users who use terminal for this purposes, they have to mention the version. So it will download. I have already downloaded it, so it's requirement already satisfied. And similarly for beautiful soup, you need to download it. So I'll just import it and show you how you can download. Okay, so you don't directly import it from there is this, because uh, be beautiful soup is not so much in independent of library dependencies. It depends upon some certain dependencies to run. So we don't exactly use beautiful soup. We use it from some other folder. So there is a complete folder of BS4. From there we just import this class of beautiful soup and as BS. So it's an abbreviation. So for installing beautiful soup, you will just write, if you're a Windows user, you can write this as well. So pip install beautiful soup, and it will download it for you. It doesn't found because there are two versions and I have to mention. So it's just like this for me. So requirement is already satisfied for me, and it will just give me a warning for my pip version, but it's fine, doesn't matter. So I told you how to download, from terminal. So these are the ways, you need to import request, and from BS4 you need to import beautiful soup. So this is a folder, and in this folder there is this class, okay, and this class being imported as a very short form as a beautiful BS. So it looks, people will think it in a different way, but that is not the way. So I will mention the URL. Okay, first let's get the input by the user, the city that user is going to input. So Python has a very easy function for getting input from command line. So that's input. I'll just say enter the city for which you're looking for. So it's enter the city. It's very basic. So you can modify it accordingly. And now this input will be stored under this variable city. Now I can use this variable to create this URL, right? This is what my idea was. So I will just create another variable URL, and that will be same this thing. And I have just created this, so it will be easier. And I'm quite done with the view variables which I need to run this code. So there is one variable which I need, like the city, and there is another variable which is the URL. Now I will write the code. So about this, the first step, making the connection with the server. So we are going to use request. So request library has few methods, very good methods. If you want, so again guys, this is my first time doing some video or any video. If you want me to, tell you more and share my part of knowledge with you, you can do give me a feed, you should give me a feedback, like it's good or constructive, or even if it's in a bad way, you can say, tell me that good things which I need to change. I really want to share these things because I love it, and I'm a self-taught Python programmer. I want you to enjoy this language and get things done. So request.get, I'll just say now URL. Now there is this thing, this will get the response in regard. But where do I store this response? So there is this another variable under which I will store this response, and that variable is page variable, via which I'm going to do this thing. So I'll keep a space and I'll give a comment to it, storing the web page content in the variable page. Now page has all the access to this request library and all the function. So now we want to check if this page really, we really get to download, we really get a chance to download this page or not. So there is this function in request library by which we can check the status code. So what is the status code, guys? In HTTP, whenever a request is sent to a server response is not directly the content or the data. In the first place, it sends you some codes, like there are codes from 200 to 300, 300 to 200 to 299, 300 to 399, 400 to 499, and 500 to 599, things like this. There are the codes, and through which you can journalize like what kind of response was that. So the response we are looking for is 200, and that is okay. So that that means that server said, yeah, this URL is fine and there is some data regarding this URL, I'm just sending you that. So that is there. Now we want to check it. So we'll just use some conditionals to check that. If page, so now the page has all the access to the status, all the library code of requests. So I'm just checking if it is 200. Sorry, train. We landed safely. I love NASA, and I love astronauts and astrophysics, astrology, planets and motions, and I love all those things. So else I'll give robo failed. Okay, so it's contactee with robo failed. That's no contactee, it's contact with robo failed. Okay, now I'll use my terminal to run my code. So for this, I'm in my directory where the code is running. So you can see it's under this directory. Here you have Python web scrapers. So I am going to call while running a code from command line. This is this thing. These all things are sent as a list if you have worked with Python. So there is this iterable where the first zeroth element is this language. Second is this the code, so it's temperature scraper, and just press the enter button. It is asking me for the city, so it's working till the point the city is being, the city code is written. So I'll just tell it, give me the temperature of Shimla, fine. But it won't give me the temperature right now. It will just tell me that it was able to get that page or not. So we landed safely, Roger. Okay, so we have got the page, guys. Success, mission success. Now we can move further to extract the data from this. So now we can, so it's a debug statement. I'll just write a comment over it. Whether request was successful or not. So I'll just give a space. I'll shrink this up and I'll start writing the code. So now we have got the page, now what? There's this page, page contains a lot of information, if we just say the print page dot, content, or just let's see what it prints out when we run this print page. So I'll be using directly this play button on my VS Code editor. It gives me really shortcut, and it does the same what I did in the last running command, writing whole Python and the file name. So it will run, but this time it will, first thing will be the path to Python executable, and second will be path to this file. So the same path to Python and path to this file. So enter the city and Shimla. Let's see what it prints out. So there is this thing, it says response, there is some response, but you directly cannot explicitly call this response. So what I can think of, there is this another function which is text. So we'll be using text and it is getting whole data. So I'll be explaining in momentarily what text is, but right now let's run this and check. So Shimla again, I'm fond of Shimla. So there is a list with lot of data, but somewhere we can see there is something very related to, there is something related to Hindustan. Shimla witnessed coldest December, things like this. Somewhere maybe there is the data which we are looking for. So that's why we landed safely, Roger. Right? We have got that data, and to be very exact, the data is somewhere here. It's somewhere really here. So we'll be just extracting it in few minutes and in next 2 to 3 lines of code, and awesome thing. So now we know that what the page is and the text is. So actually I'll show you. So the page text is this whole data. When you just go and say inspect element, you get this whole page as something, combination of some divs, some spans, some, a tags, some hrefs, some images. So the whole website or the whole web page in itself is nothing but some structured HTML in which the data is placed. But this data is using JavaScript to run some dynamic content on this page in runtime that cannot be directly accessed. So if we try to, I'll be doing is I'll be, inspecting the element under which kind of tag it is. So there it is. It is under span tag and it has this kind of style. But if I directly try to do this, I won't be able to get this data. So let me show you. So it's better to show you what I mean. So now I have got this text, but now my human eyes cannot fetch this data and I need to write some program functionality to fetch this data out of this file. For my rescue is in beautiful soup. So I won't comment it out. I won't comment it out and I'll just use this whole. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to use that beautiful soup. that beautiful soup library, that class, and create a class for my content with some parser. So what it is, it's a soup object, fondly known as, if you will be reading it. So soup object I'm creating, I'll be using BS, so that's BS, right? And I'll be using the page text. So by this you must have gotten the idea what Beautiful Soup needs to build. It needs that text version of this whole web page which you have just got, right? And then it needs a parser. You know, there is this parser thing which parses this whole web page. So we can see that there is a lot of div tags and HTML tags. So something which is commonly we can understand and relate to is HTML parser. So this is the HTML parser we'll be using, and that's pretty much it. Now we will be using soup object for anything we want to fetch out of this page. Now Beautiful Soup has a very good function which we gonna use, and that is called find function. So I'll call soup object and I'll apply find function on it, and it will ask me for few things. You know, you can pass different arguments accordingly, but to one which is, it requires one positional argument at least. So that is, for us, it's the tag. First is the tag. So span is called a tag, and then there is this another thing which is, used to identify that span on this web page. So if we go back and look at this, that 8 is stored under some span which has ID. So I was using a wrong word. I will use ID. So it has a ID VobTM, and there is this class VobT as well. So I can go with this as well. Fine. So I'll just say this, and I'll say this is the class, Control V, and you know store this under another variable so that data can be stored and handled and understood. Print 10. I'll change the name of this variable. I like to call my variables very explicit, and I want their names to be good. I'm kind of a person with OCD, so happens. City Shimla, and there is nothing called, there is none. I don't find anything. What a shame. This is the problem, because this data is dynamic, and every time, it has some rendering issues. I have tried it previously, so it won't work. Then there is this thing which I can use. I have got the response, right? By this line, I had the response 200 OK, and that response was containing something like this. But that was different. That was really different because that was independent of your system, your browser, your environment. It was pure HTML containing this whole basic data. I'll show you now what I mean. So now I have this whole website. Now, if I call print soup object, so if you first want to know what kind of thing, what kind of type this soup object is, it's a beautiful soup object, so has all the functions of beautiful soup. So type is a good function. You can always try to understand. It will give you an understanding of what kind of object you're dealing with, so you can apply the necessary and relevant functions to it. So I'll just, I'll make this URL pretty much constant for my purpose right now. Will change accordingly because I've got to know that it's working fine, so it's good to go. I'll just be using Shimla for now, so it will save a little bit work for me. Shimla is not defined. Okay, I was using string formatter. Sorry. So I will remove F and we'll directly use it. Fine. Clear it up. So sometimes everyone hits the silly mistake, so it's okay. No self-justifying. So it's a beautiful soup object, and I can use a lot of things. So on this. So beautiful soup object. So if I want to go and to look, what kind of text object it is and what is the string representation of it, how that div has been stored, in what version. I want the data of page.txt, that whole div, into a file. So now I'll be using Python file handling with a beautiful soup function, that is Prettify. So I hope you guys are aware of this statement. With open, you can name any file. So my file is temperature dot html. Okay, temperature. I am clumsy in writing spelling, so please forgive me for that. And I'll be using it, write plus mode, so I can change it in future as well. And then there is this encoding I want to mention. My encoding is, so I I'll be, by the end of this video, I'll be shouting out, I'll be telling you another cool tool which you can use while coding with Python. That's a very awesome tool, and it will give you a lot of fun and ease up your lot of coding process. So as a as file pointer, and I will write fp dot write. I'll just use directly the method fp dot write, and we'll say write that soup object. That soup object is containing the whole text page. So that version which will be basically Prettify does what? It turns this whole the page text into a string format. So suppose if we had something like this, h, and it is not so good. Let's call it h1. H1. So this data was without quotes. This data is without these quotes. So what Prettify is doing, it is putting quotes around it so that machine can easily and the file can be written, because we need strings to write on a file. So let's hope this works fine, and we should be able to get this page here in this folder. So when I run this code, it will run with Shimla only, pretty fixed. So I have a temperature HTML, and if I look at it, it worked wonders. It worked really fine. So most of the time, in some cases you guys will come across such a challenge that where you will need such sort of functionalities. Uh, so now in this document, I will get the data, but in a different class and under a different tag. So if I go and I have to go through a lot to locate it. So what I can do is I can really hit it up and load it up in my website. So I'll locate this folder on my PC and will hit it up in this directly. So I have my web scrapers, and there is my temperature.html open with Firefox. So the data is pretty much static. The doesn't depend upon anything. So you can just see. So directly from the server, fresh out of the oven. So if we inspect this element right now and look at it, so I'll just take this pointer cursor, I'll try to locate it out, and now you can see. So it is under some tag which is dev and has a totally different class. And now if I try to fetch it out from here, I'm going to be successful. Oh God, why I do this? So I have done something wrong, silly, and need to load it up again. Okay. So because I'm going to, I need that tag and that class. So just keep it here and good to go. Now I've got this file. I don't need it every time, because I know whenever I'm going to get this kind of information, where the data is going to be stored. So now it's very easy. I'll just say there is a temperature variable for me. Have I created it again already? I haven't. So I guess it's pretty much impressive. I'll tell you about this too. So temperature, and the temperature is under soup object, is inside soup object now, and I'll say in soup object, try to find a div, okay, and always remember guys to pass this arguments as a string, okay, and any other attribute like tag, class or ID as a dictionary will be helpful. You can use class as no, there is something which you come across and you will come to know about it. If any question about this where I take a pause, you can ask me in the comment box. So class is the class is this. I'll just copy paste. I'm very clumsy with sometimes with these things. I selected it all and deselected it. Come on, man. So I'll just put it up here and let's print it out and see if that worked. And if I run it again, and if you don't get this button, right, you can see, oh, by the time I was talking, I've got the result. So I've completed it. So just about this, if you haven't got this button, you can use debug mode as well. And when you run and debug, it will run the same file. It will tell you, it will ask for you the configuration. Now you have to tell where the debug the currently active Python file. So you just tell it, and it will run it from there only. So you, if you don't have this, I have this, I use it because sometimes I get problems. Now I'm comfortable with it, being lazy. So I've got the data, I'm quite good. And now in Beautiful Soup there is this function that is called text, get text. So if I call get text, it will give me the only text part which is not contained inside any tag and has anything related to coding or programming. That's complete plain text. So now if I run this, I should be getting 8 degrees Celsius on my screen. Boom, here we go, the code is done. Now it's all about representing it. So you can write it to a file or you can just show it in the screen. I'll do both for you. So with the same statement, I'll just use this. I'll just change this, temperature.txt and write plus encoding as fp, and I'll just say that this time soup object, I won't use soup object. I'll say control v, temperature in the current city is, with some space. Okay, looks good. You can put it here and space, and then there you go. So with helps me, I don't need to put a close, because when I use with statement, it takes care of close as well. So I could have done it like open a file, and then I need to close it as well. But with open, it becomes easier. So I'm doing something wrong with indentation, and let's see if that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So if I do this, and I can directly use this to print it out onto the screen as well. So I'll do it in the first place, print. I'll use string formatting here. So um, so I'm just putting the function directly. So I'm using, if I wanted to do it, I can do it here as well. There's something wrong with indentation. Let me just do it again. I hope this will do. I hope. Okay. So let's run it, and give it a final run. Okay. Here we have. So put a f string here as well. Why to give it stress? With the use of string formatter, we can get it done, and it's pretty easy. And let's clear it out and run it for the final time. It should work fine. Text file is being created every time, right? So once the execution is done, so you can see uh, still. So the whole code worked, and booyah, we are running fine. And all it took was just we can see temperature.txt. So in the current state is, now we just need to change a little bit few itsy bitsy things. So we just want to activate this URL, right? And just activate it, put it here, put a f string, put this under curly brackets, remove the stringler to city, and just change temperature in. So I'll use this, and I'll say no, there is no current temperature in city in the Shimla, correct temperature in Shimla currently is, so just working with English. So let's see, let's give it a final run and the whole code is complete. So this time we'll use something else. We'll go to Mandi. It's a place in Himachal Pradesh, very beautiful. So now current temperature in Mandi currently is 18 degrees Celsius and we have it on file. For this video, this was pretty much it, and you can see it took like really very less lines of code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 lines of code and you are good to scrape data from any website. So you can try this whole concept on different websites, and I will suggest you to try it out. One thing you just should put thing under consideration. Don't, first and foremost, always check for the status code. There are some pages which is not going to allow to scrap their websites. So suppose, see, if you want to do something like this for testing, let's create another page and I'll show you the page which doesn't allow us to scrape data from their page. So that URL is so if you try to go and fetch data from out this website, it is not possible because it won't allow you, because it has some bots and engines which which decodes that this request is coming from some machine which is headless. We'll see how to get this data also. In next coming videos we'll try to solve out this problem. I'll just quickly show you what I meant, like some websites don't allow us, and I'll just say, and I'll change this comment and print out with what status code it printed. Okay, so if it's 200 we landed safely, else I wanted to show me the status code. Okay, so the contact with robo failed, and I'll just use my best friend string formatting. Okay, so if we try to run this, and it will run the whole code for Shimla and all. So let's stop that to do happen. Let's stop it to let it run. Just we'll see the error where we trying. So Shimla. Okay, the error, there was no error. Which base? Okay. So I did something stupid. I didn't mention it where to go. Oh god, sometimes it's embarrassing, and while recording video, it's totally embarrassing. Let's clear it out. But okay, I'll take responsibility for my mistakes. It's fine. It's good I commit mistakes. I can learn. So contact with Robo failed due to error code 403. When you go and search what was error 403, 403 forbidden. So you're not allowed, right? So there's this clear thing. You are forbidden. You cannot access client error status, which indicates the server understood the request but refuses to authorize it. So always try to understand these kind of things and before doing the scraping. And if you do it, you're very good to go and it will always be helpful to you. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you like this video. And if you don't, you please do tell me in comments what you don't like and what should I can change. And if you liked it, do inspire me to make these more videos. Give me a thumbs up on on YouTube, press that gray button, and if you liked it more, that there is a red button as well, that's called a subscribe. You can press it too. And do tell me, this is my first time and this is my first video. I'm really anxious and nervous while creating this. I hope you guys must have enjoyed it. I'll put links of what I've talked about in the description box, and this link to my GitHub in this description box as well. So I hope you guys enjoy it. God bless you. Keep on learning a lot and always be Pythonic. God bless.